Good evening, Equestria. Wolf here on the brand new Las Pegacast, bringing you the news from Las Pegasus to Canterlaw and beyond. Hello, every pony. My name is Okami the Wolf 1. You can call me Wolf. And this is the very first episode of my brand new and first podcast, the Las Pegacast. I hope to make this a really good show, and I really hope you'll all like it. First, of course, I bet you're wondering, why should I listen to Las Pegacast? What's it going to have? Good question. Well, basically, in every episode, I'll have a main subject. Um, Today's subject, actually, is my trip to Everfree Northwest, and I'll share with you all the experiences uh, that I saw and everything I did and saw at what was one of the greatest conventions I've ever been to. Um, and that'll be today's main topic. Also, we will have news, weather from Equestria, and one special little feature I like to call the Con Corner. And I will be reading a list of upcoming conventions, when they'll be, where they'll be. If I can, I'll give you websites and even the costs. And I might even tell you if they've sold out or not. Uh, Today, I've actually got 5 My Little Pony related conventions to tell you about. They won't always be pony related. Sometimes I'll talk about steampunk or anime or furry, but generally related to fandoms like this. And of course, the news and letters. I don't have any letters today because this is the first episode and nobody's written in, of course. So sit back, relax, and listen to the Las Pegacast. First, of course, let's head over to the news. Let's see, what do we have for news today? Uh, Season 1 of My Little Pony has finally been made available. It is set for pre-order as an Amazon.com exclusive. It is $24.49, so it's just under the free shipping mark. And it contains every episode of Season 1, and I'm assuming it's in high def. Not only has it been is it available, but within like 3 days, within like 2 or 3 days of being released, for pre-order, it shot to number 3 on Amazon.com's best seller list, most wanted. I mean, that is fast. Boom, instantly to number 3. It even beat out the Hunger Games, which I've heard is really popular right now. And that was just amazing. Also available, coming soon, is the highly anticipated My Little Pony comic books. And I can tell you, I'm already set. I'm going to get every issue I can. It's put out by, I can never remember, IDS? No, that's not it. I forget, I'm sorry, I forget the comic book company. My internet is down, so I can't, check. But, it's an indie, comic book company, which are the best, in my opinion. But anyways, and they will be putting out the My Little Pony comic book. Issue 1 has 8 variations of the cover, I'm told. 2 of them are done by guest artists, so they look a little different, and I'm heard they're going to be a bit more rare, and the rest are all done by the main artist, and there are 6 covers, and as you can guess, that means each one features one of the main 6. And I believe if you put them all together, they make one big picture if you put all the covers side by side. Kind of like some of those old Sonic the Hedgehog comics, if you remember. They used to do that all the time, especially with, I believe, Knuckles the Echidna. Like every issue did that. So I can tell you I am already set to get those. I believe those come out November. I'm not sure when, but they come out in November. I know that. I myself am buying them from Newberry Comics. I know that if you, at least from mine, I'm going to say that it's probably true for all Newberry Comics, but don't quote me on this. But the one I go to offers a 20% discount off of shelf price if you subscribe through Newberry Comics. So they'll hold the issue for you. You have to pick it up. They don't mail it to your house, but they'll hold it. And considering these comics cost $4 a piece, you're going to want to save that 20%. Let's see, that's like, what, 80 cents, I think? So, all set for those. I haven't subscribed yet or pre-ordered them, but I'm going to, just like I've already pre-ordered the Season 1 box set. Also, if you want, I believe they are offering for $20, I believe, a boxed set of the main 6 comics. So if you're going to get them, you're gonna want to get 9 copies. Okay, you're gonna want to get that special box set. You're gonna want to get the two special copies with the special covers, and then you're just gonna want to get a double of any of those. It doesn't matter, just so that you can read it and it can get greasy from your fingerprints and stuff, and you can enjoy it without have to worrying about I've got to read this with gloves on so that I make sure it stays perfect, which is what I do with some of my comics. I'm not that bad, but I keep everything in slips. So that's really the big news for right now. Not a lot, especially with it being the off season, with My Little Pony not being on the air at the moment. We don't know when season 3 is going to be aired, but the moment I find out, I will announce it on this podcast. Most definitely. Let's see, what else do I have? I believe that's all for news. Let's move on to the convention, shall we? I have 5 to talk about right now. Let's see. First up is Midwestria, which is actually going on right now, September 14th through 16th, this weekend, at Pheasant Run Resort in St. Charles, Illinois. Now, I am not there. I'm reading from I saved the webpage on my computer. Let's see. For guest, they had writers Amy Keaton Rogers and M.A. Larson. Let's see, and Eurobeat Brony is going to be there. Let's see, writer Charlton Fullerton. Let's see, and community musician EHT is going to be there. They're going to run a race, the Running of the Leaves 5K charity race, and I would definitely be in there. Registration has closed as of midnight. Pre-registration, that is. Several more musicians are actually going to be there. Blue Nose Reindeer, Chain Algorithm, Cyril the Wolf, F3... I can never figure out how to say these names. F3 Ning, Grace Note, 7th Element, and Taps. And they will all be there at Midwestria 2012, which might be over by the time you listen to this. Depends how fast I post it. Next up, I believe, is Brony Fanfare, which, according to this, is already passed. Sorry about that. It was September 8th and 9th in Austin, Texas. Wow, I'm slow. Sorry about that, folks. Brony Fanfare, yeah, it passed. Next up, and I know it's still around, Canterlot Gardens. Guest of honor is Michelle Krieber, the voice of Apple Bloom and singing voice of Sweetie Belle. So that's going to be pretty cool. Let's see, they're going to have several community guests, and they're even having a writer, Amy Keaton. I'm terrible with names. Amy Keating Rogers, one of the writers again. And Canterlot Gardens will be, Come on, where does it say it now? September 28th and 29th? 28th through 30th in Strongsville, Ohio. And you can go to CantelotGardens, I believe, .com to check it out. And registration is still open, I believe. Next up is Equestria LA in November. It's only one. It's only one day long though. Darn, my page doesn't say. It's like the beginning of November or the beginning of December. I'll have more info. Sorry, folks, having trouble with my computer and my notes. Anyways, Equestria LA, yeah, it's one day, and I believe it's at the LA Convention Center. And finally, a brand new one was announced. You might not have heard of this one yet, unless of course you go to Derpy Hooves News every day, in which case you already totally know. The Las Pegasus Unicon 2013. Guess where that's happening? Right here in Las Pegasus. Yeah, so it's going to be in Las Vegas on February 22nd through 24th at the Riviera Hotel and Casino. That is going to be awesome. I can tell you, I like it there, and I'm definitely going to go. Let's see. Amy Keating Rogers again. Boy, she gets around. Tara Strong, Daniel Ingram. The three of them have been announced. Still not much in the news yet for it, because that's, let's see, February 22nd. Yeah, that's still 5 months away. But as far as I know, its registration is way open. Or you know what? I don't even know if registration has opened yet. I'm sorry. I have trouble making show notes. But you can contact them at contact@laspegasusUnicon.com or call them at 702-860-7927. That's the number they have on their webpage. And that is it for convention news at the moment. Let's see. I've gone through regular news, convention news, letters. Today in the mailbox we have no letters. Big surprise there, because this is the first show and nobody even knows about it. But if you would like to send in a letter, you can send it in at, presently you can use ukamithewolf1@gmail.com. That is, you can send in letters or questions, comments, whatever, to laspegacast@gmail.com. And I should have that Gmail set up by the time this airs. And you can send in, ask questions about basically anything, whatever you want. Preferably, pony related, but, questions about the show. I know a lot about other fandoms, within anime and manga and whatnot, so any questions, if you have theories about what the show could be, questions about the fan base, if there's a meme that you can't figure out or something, I know about most of them, so, ask anything, but do not send me anything about Season 3, no. I do not want any Season 3 spoilers. I have been so good. Occasionally, I accidentally come across some Season 3 stuff, but it's like, once I realize it's like, oh no, Season 3 stuff, quick, shut it off, no, my eyes, and because I do not want to ruin it. When, I think the game was Sonic Generations, when that was announced, I watched every bit of footage I could find, and by the time the game came out, I already knew almost the whole thing, and there was very little surprise. So I learned with that not to ever do this again, with anything, games and TV shows, especially Season 3 of My Little Pony, because I do not want to ruin the first big two-parter episode. And yes, we do know it is a two-parter, according to the Crystal Fair DVD that is going to be released in November. Oh, and by the way, about that, I pre-ordered it, but then I canceled it. It has 5 episodes on it, but they're not season 3 episodes. Only the first 2 are. The other, and it's the opening 2-parter. The other 3 are season 2 episodes. So if you were ordering it thinking it was the first half of season 3, then it's not. I'm sorry. Because that's what I thought. I thought 5 episodes. It's got to be like the first half of season 3. But then I found out it wasn't. So, I mean, you can order it. I'll probably eventually buy it, but it's not as high. It's not as important at this moment to get. Um, so let's see. I've gone through news. I've gone through letters. I've gone through con news. Um, I guess I'll go into the main subject next. First, I guess I should talk about me, my favorite subject. I am Okami the Wolf 1. That's with 2 O's. You can just call me Wolf. If you're sending me letters or talking to me, just call me Wolf. Yeah, I know, really original, right? Anyways, and no, that's not a pony name. I know I don't have a pony persona yet. It's just that's my internet username and has been since for the past year. So it's just almost everything I do has got that same username. I lucked out, and every site I'm on, with like one exception, has I was able to get that username. So if you should be on fanfiction.net, fimfiction.net, Fur Affinity, not so much, deviantart.com, let's see, Game FAQs. If you're around any of those sites and you see Okami the Wolf 1, well, that's me. I do all that stuff. Of course, also on YouTube, if you're listening to this, but on YouTube, I used Pony Fix Out Loud. That's PonyFicsOutloud. Pony Fix Out Loud. And from there, you can listen to both the Las Pegacast and all of my biggest project so far is audiobook readings. And I know other people have done, an audiobook here or a dramatization there. But I want to try to be really big and just do tons of them. Right now I have Strange Bedfellows, which I really liked, by Stage Mask. It's up to 13 chapters now. It's a Rainbow Dash. It's an Applejack rarity shipfic. Well, it's more adventure. Basically, Applejack and Rarity, their personalities kind of clash, and so they're at Twilight's sleepover, and they kind of start to fight while she's practicing a teleportation spell on them, and she accidentally teleports them to the southernmost borders of Equestria. And now they're all alone in the middle of nowhere, and they have to rely on each other to survive. And it's a really good fic. It's up to 13 chapters, and you should really check it out. And I did an audiobook reading of that for my first. And I have all 13 chapters posted, I believe. Also, I did A Slice of Life, which was a comedy about Celestia. She has to go on a mandated royal diet, and there's nothing she can do. So it basically stars Celestia and Luna, and Luna's taunts her throughout it, and Celestia keeps trying and trying to cheat on her diet, and it's a good length. I only got the first 2 chapters done because it takes so long to edit them, but it's 9 chapters, 150 pages, well, on my computer at least, and it's just really funny. I mean, there's nothing you could really disagree about it with. It's just good, really funny, and that's A Slice of Life by Dawn Scroll. I also got permission to do Paradise, and I haven't read it yet, but it sounds really good, about Celestia and Luna before they were princesses, like 1,000 years ago in Equestria, before they were even alicorns, I think. And I got permission to do it. I haven't read it, and the only thing is, it says it is incomplete. It might be, and the author just didn't check it to be completed. Um, but it's pretty long as it is, and I'd like to do it, but if it's incommpleted and not going to be completed, I might not. I think if I read it right, it said that it hasn't been updated since last August. I'm not talking about last month. I'm talking about a year and a month ago, between season 1 and season 2. So if it's been that long, I don't know. I mean, yes, authors can they can keep writing it, but if it's not finished, I might not do it. Um, just because I'd hate to do all that reading, and then, you know, the listeners, listen to it, hoping, liking it, and then suddenly it stops. And I know that when that happens a lot in fan fictions, but if you're doing an audiobook and then it suddenly stops, it's not that great. A Slice of Life and Strange Bedfellows haven't been finished. They're still in the works, so that's why the audio. So if they don't finish, then I'm leaving the audiobooks up there, but I'll put a warning that says the book stops at whatever chapter. Although I really hope they finish. I also got permission to do Sunny Skies All Day Long, and I've already read it. I just have to edit it, and once I do that, I'll be posting it on Equestria Daily, and hopefully that'll get me some notoriety there, and people will notice and say, "Ooh, you can go here for audiobooks." So those are the stories I've got right now, those 4, and so they'll be on YouTube, and you could use whatever site you use to download YouTube audio. I'd like to make the audio files available for download. Just click the button and it brings it up and you can download it. But I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So I guess that's another subject we'll be talking about, fan fiction, because I am a avid fan fiction reader, although only of My Little Pony. Back when I used to do Sonic fan fiction, that was like 6 months ago, before I was into Pony, I didn't really read that much of it. I read a little, but not too much, although I'll save Sonic for another day. So, you know who I am, Wolf. I'm about 21 years old. I've only been in the fandom since December, actually. I didn't even know such a large internet fan base existed. Not just ponies, but fandom in general. It was about December. I was looking for Sonic the Hedgehog comics online, and I discovered Fireball 20XL and Wachow and Super Saigai and all those guys. And that's when I found out about all the online comics, and then Sprite Comics, and then through other sites I found out about fan fiction, and I thought, oh, this is so cool. And I started writing fan fiction, and DeviantArt. I discovered DeviantArt, and now I post artwork, and I also do gaming. You might see me on Second Life occasionally, and I am also on Xbox Live. So same usernames again, Ukami the Wolf 1. So if you see that, you know it's me. And so then let's see, I've always been into Sonic, but it was December when I found out about the fandom. And then in March, I discovered ponies. Yeah. It was between episode 24 and the finale of season 2 that I discovered. No, I believe it was right when that Mystery on the Friendship Express aired. I believe that was the week I discovered ponies. And then here I am, like 4 or 5 months later, and I've already made 10 plushie dolls, which I sell, by the way. You can find them on eBay and my DeviantArt page. And I've got a podcast dedicated to ponies. Now, this podcast will probably have ponies 9 times out of 10. Sometimes there's just not enough news to talk about. The fandom is, the brony-dom is really big, and so there's always stuff going on, but doesn't mean there's always going to be a lot of news and stuff to talk about, especially like right now on the off season. But 9 times out of 10 we will be doing ponies here. Occasionally I might talk about other fandoms I know of, or video games, or other cartoons, you know, stuff like that. Or we might read fan fiction here, which is always fun. We could read it well, or we could read terrible fan fiction, make fun of it, whatever. But mostly it's going to be ponies, unless this podcast outruns the pony fandom, in which case you'll probably see less and less, but I'll worry about that like somewhere around episode 500 or something. Also, occasionally we will have an After Dark special, so I'm saving any Rule 34 stuff for the After Dark specials, but don't worry if you don't like that stuff. It'll be separate from the main podcast. You'll be able to tell, you know, when it's the After Dark special. I'll have a separate theme for that. But you'll probably get one of those like once every 6 months, if that. So I wouldn't worry about it. Although we will talk about a very educated talk about the whole effects of that on fandom and everything. So but otherwise, this podcast is probably rated PG-13. So, you know, teens listen to this. It's good. Little kids, maybe not so much. But I'll try to stay more, you know, friendly. Not family friendly, but, you know, not too crazy here. Let's see, I believe that is just about it. Next is weather, then we will get on to our main topic, Everfree Northwest. And let's see, I'll just go over to the weather pony in the weather room. Hello, this is your weather pony here. No, that won't do. Weather pony here for all your weather needs. In Las Pegacast, there will be sun, and a little more sun. This afternoon, you might get some clouds in the sky towards the south. And tomorrow, it is more sun. Let's see, Canterlot will be slightly foggy in the morning, clearing up by midday. There's rain scheduled for tomorrow, so get those umbrellas ready, all you unicorns. Weather in Manhattan looks really good for the rest of the week. No downpour has been scheduled. Baltimore right now has a heavy rainfall, which is scheduled to end by midnight tonight. Ponyville is looking rather nice. Sunny, partly cloudy, with a slight chance of nothing. This has been your weather pony with all your Equestria weather needs. Remember, folks, stay out of the Everfree Forest because the weather there is out of control. Thank you, Weather Pony. Now that that's done, let's take a short break and then we'll move on to the main topic. Meanwhile, enjoy this song.
Gather round for a group hug. No need to
And welcome back, every pony. Well, now to get on to the main topic, Everfree Northwest. And I have right here in my hand, in this little bag, the schedule to Everfree. I somehow ended up with 3 of them, I'm not sure how. And I will be reading off basically what I did and my experiences at Everfree Northwest. The good, the bad, and everything in between. So basically, it's just going to be my weekend, but you'll get a feel for what it was like to be at the convention. It ran for, of course, 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and took place at the Holiday Inn and at the Marriott, 2 blocks away. It started at 9 o'clock Friday and ended 5 o'clock Sunday. So, first thing was I got there at 7:30 in the morning. Yes. It was really cool, just to see all these different people wearing My Little Pony shirts and stuff, and it was really cool. That early, and I saw at least a dozen people hanging around outside of the Holiday Inn, and I wasn't sure where to go because I looked the previous week on the website, and I was pretty sure it had said registration was at the Holiday Inn, and I went inside and asked, but it had been moved to the Marriott, so I don't know if I just misread it or what, but so me and another brony walked up to the Marriott, because we had both pretty much asked the same question at the same time, so we walked up to a very large ballroom that they had, and they were seating us all pretty methodically, and I sat between him and another brony, and everyone was waiting for registration to open, which was supposed to open at 8. And the problem was the fire codes. They were really good at trying to make sure they stayed within the fire codes, which I compliment them on that because it was really hard having so many people. But the hallways were just getting overcrowded, and even in the room we were in, once they had finished seating everybody, the back of the room was full of standing room only. So we waited, and we had to wait for 3 hours, but it wasn't that bad. It was actually the best 3-hour wait I've ever had, because first, we were talking and stuff, and then suddenly in the back, everyone started singing, and they got everyone to sing, and it was really awesome. We sang, let's see, Smile, 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 This Day Aria, and I want to say there was another song that we all sang, but we sang several. People started singing, and one by one everyone was singing, and then everyone just, it was awesome, really awesome. There were 1 or 2 songs that people started singing that were like, whoa, where did that one come from? The one I remember was the Pokemon theme, the original theme, the good one. And the best part was they sang the whole thing, and I know almost all the verses, so that was pretty cool. And so yeah, that was awesome. Everyone was cheering all the time. Like, someone would bring in and hold up some huge, awesome plushie, and everyone would be like, yeah. And the California bronies came in with their ponified California flag, which was Fluttershy on the back of the bear, giving the bear a massage. And everyone cheered for that. Even at one point, someone yelled up and alerted the whole crowd that it was Shark Week. Which I guess it was Shark Week. I don't really follow that, but so it was cool. And then eventually they played pony music. They just decided to play every song from season 1, and they forgot the opening theme, but they did, and everyone sang along, and it was awesome. And they started to get into season 2 a little. And they also, at one point, there was a guy in the audience with a laptop, and the staff members just said, "You with the laptop, come over here." And he did, and they plugged it in, and they played Ponies the Anthology 1 on the big screen. And I'd heard of it, but this was the first time I had seen it. So it was pretty cool. And they did remember to censor, well, most of it. After that, eventually, by 11 o'clock, they announced that it was badge-free Friday because of the way registration was going so terrible. So everyone got up and left, and I kind of wanted to go to opening ceremonies, but ended up heading over into the dealer's den because everyone was kind of just going that way. So I just went in, and I looked around. I was mostly looking for pony cards, and yes, they had a desk. It was in the hallway, not in the dealer's den, though, and they were selling these gorgeous pony binders. My Little Pony card binders. They had the slips to hold the cards, they had packets of cards, and they had boxes of cards. And each binder actually came with a 6-card Discord holographic, I always say holographic, sorry, foil card set. And it's really, really nice. By the time I found that booth, because I like missed it, they had already sold out of boxes. I mean, they sold out in a matter of hours for the boxes. And they actually were giving away Fluttershy cards. Now, I'm sure you've all heard of the BronyCon exclusive rarity card. Well, this was the Everfree exclusive Fluttershy card. And they had it free. Take a card, take a card, take a card. They're nice cards. And it is part of the 6-card bonus set, I guess you could call it. It looks like the BronyCon rarity card, except it's Fluttershy. And I noticed with the binder, it came with a checklist, and on the a really nice checklist too. And on it, it had some pictures of cards, and it had a picture of a matching Pinkie Pie card. So I don't know when we'll be seeing that, but we now know what the Pinkie Pie card looks like. So it looks like they'll eventually release one of each 6 of them, but for the moment they haven't all been released. So no one can technically say they've got a complete set yet. Sorry, I know most of you do, but just missing those cards because they just haven't been released yet. And I got like 5 or 6 packs and a binder, and I opened them. I saw some other guys around a table. They had like bought like 2 boxes each and were unpackaging all of them. And so I went over there and opened the cards with them and stuff. And I lucked out. I got a Royal Wedding card in every pack I bought. And it was like amazing. At a later point, I went to my local Kmart and bought out every card they had, including they let me keep the display box. And I ended up with the Princess Cadance gold card. So that was great. But anyway, so I didn't go to the opening ceremony, and I watched it later on Everfree Radio, and it was only 10 minutes long, so the odds of me even seeing it would have been like slim. The dealer's room was awesome, I should say. I walked in, they were selling official pony merchandise, posters, sketches, plushies, these great little plastic molds that took your brushable pony dolls, which have terrible hair, we all know that, and replaces them with a plastic molded hair, and you paint them, and they actually look like real collectibles, like Gundams or something. And they display really nice, and they don't look like a little girl's toy anymore. They look like an actual collectible. So they had artwork, some amazing posters. The woman who did the poster on the cover of the booklet, which was a very nice booklet, by the way, she was there selling that print. And overall, it was great. I actually stopped off at Pixel Kitties, and I had heard her first on the Bronyville podcast, and so I knew about her. And oddly enough, she looked exactly like I pictured her, which happens often with me. Sometimes, when I imagine someone on the radio, half the time I get it right. So she had a lot of her stuff, and I bought 2 or 3 pieces, postcard sized, several Fallout ones, because she's a big fan of Fallout. So she had a lot, and I bought the only poster I really bought was her Only You Can Prevent Changeling Espionage, which of course that's a spoof off of the Fallout poster. And I learned a very important rule. You should always bring a poster tube with you. My poster managed to get home mostly intact, but it could have been better. But I'll get to that later. Also, I was able to she was selling bottles of Nuka-Cola. Yes, right from Fallout. Or I should say Fallout Equestria, because they're Nuka Classy Colas, 1 bit. And they've got a picture of Gummy with wearing a Vault-Tec suit on. It's pretty cool. It's just basically a bottle of root beer, generic brand root beer with a new label slapped on it for decorative purposes only, basically. But still, it's kind of neat. And that was only $5, so that was less than like a lot of the other artwork and stuff there. So the dealer's den was great. Then I went and registered. The actual registration line was actually pretty fast. I was 75th in line, and it just moved right up. And the badges were nice. I was expecting, because I'd been to 1 or 2 conventions before, and I'd never gotten a good badge. It'd be either something, a sticker around my wrist, or a piece of paper pinned to my coat. But no, these were actual plastic cards with name, fan name, nice green rope around your neck. They were really nice. Mine was supposed to have my fan name on it along with my real name, but it messed up and didn't put my fan name on it. But it's still pretty cool. So then I went out over to the Holiday Inn to see the panels. And I'm not sure what panel I walked in on. According to this, it'd have to be the art of the song, but I don't think that was it. So I'm not sure what panel I walked in on, but I saw a little, let's see. Then there was Pony Jeopardy. That was pretty good. I think only like 6 or 8 people got to actually participate, but it was pretty cool just sitting in the audience watching them do Pony Jeopardy and trying to guess the questions. Of course, some people had to yell out the answers, and it's like, oh man, come on. But anyways, there were a very nice panel that was all on writing fan fiction, and it was separated into several different subjects. The first one was settings, the next one was plot, the next one was characters, and I think I went to at least 2 of those. I also, let's see, I stayed a little for the Smart Cookies screening, which starred 1 or 2 of the Cutie Mark Crusaders in it. I'm not sure which. And I saw a little, but it's a Hallmark movie, and I don't really care for Hallmark movies too much, so I walked out after about 10 minutes. And it wasn't pony related, so there was other pony stuff to see. So I went to the writing panels, and I went to see Friendship is Witchcraft, but I didn't get in. I was like 5th away from the door. I was upstairs at the Holiday Inn and just kind of peeking through the door, waiting. When one person would come out, one person would go in, and I ended up being the last person in. I think I saw about the last 8 minutes of the Friendship is Witchcraft panel, and I didn't know what was going on, so I stayed for Double Rainbow, which I was really looking forward to, which was the next panel at the Summit Grand Ballroom, which, by the way, was on the 12th floor of the Holiday Inn, and more on that after. But so I sat and waited for Double Rainbow, but it was cancelled. One of the panelists hadn't shown up, so we didn't get to see Double Rainbow. At that point, everyone crowded into the other room on the top floor, which was only a quarter the size, to see Whose Line Is It Any Pony. And I was third away from the door when they shut it. Maybe if I had been like a little more just kind of squeezed in there quickly, I might have made it, but I didn't. And I only found out later that they decided to move it to the Summit Grand Ballroom that I was just in. And if I had stayed upstairs for maybe 10 more minutes, I would have been in it. I would have at least gotten able to see it. But I didn't, so I watched the live stream later. Then was one of the bigger ones, the Bronyville podcast. And I'm a big fan of Bronyville. I've been listening to it about episode 50 on, about 20 episodes now. So I went to see Bronyville, and it was really good. It was great to see all of them in person and listen in on the podcast. It was really, really great. I really liked it. I actually asked a question. I believe somewhere around 45 minutes in, you'll hear someone ask about if they think Nightmare Moon will ever return. That was me. I forget, that was like episode 69 or 70, the one where they air the Everfree footage. And that was great. I didn't go to any of the autograph signings. The lines were extremely long, and I couldn't afford them. I think it was $20 per person, per autograph. So if I wanted like everybody, it would have been like, if I wanted just the Cutie Mark Crusaders, it would have been $60, and I didn't have that much, to spend. I was spending out more on swag. But I'll eventually get autographed. Hot Diggity Demon was there too, but I didn't get to see him. I saw him later. But then I believe the dance. The dance was a little odd because it was like set up into two dances. There was Pony Stalk upstairs and the Celestia dance downstairs. And I was downstairs, and there was only 7 of us dancing, and it was like a rave. I couldn't figure out how the music was pony related. There were no lyrics. I mean, they could have been done by pony related artists, but I didn't know. So we danced a little, and then some of them decided to go upstairs, and then found out the party was going on upstairs. And so we went upstairs, and it was like, whoa, a real rave. And there was like 100 people up there just jumping up and down, and crush, kill, destroy swag. And it was pretty good. And there were lines to get in at first, but because I went up there at 11 o'clock, there were no lines. And from there, I stayed till about 1. Saturday, big day. First thing, 10 a.m., the main 6-2 panel. Awesome. It was basically the cast of My Little Pony. And you'll have to forgive me, but I am terrible with names. Let's see. It was Tara Strong, Twilight Sparkle, Tabitha St. Germain, Kathy Westluck, Princess Celestia, Pinkie Pie Fluttershy. The 5 of them were there. It was called the main 6-2 because the voice of Rainbow Dash and Applejack, she wasn't able to attend. So that's why it was the main 6-2. But I couldn't believe the line. It stretched from the back doors of the Holiday Inn all the way around to the front doors of the Holiday Inn. And I kind of messed up because I was inside the building. I was 20th in line. And some guys were like, oh, this line for the elevator is long. We'll just take the stairs. But the line wasn't for the elevators. The line was to get in. And we didn't know that. And so we went upstairs and they sent us back down. Yes, had to climb 12 flights of stairs. The elevators were slow. I climbed those stairs at least once and went down them at least 3 times. Um, and so we got sent back down. And what I should have done was right next to where my spot in line was one of the guys. And I should have just asked for my place back. But no, I went outside and I had to go all the way around the building. I was like 200th in line instead of 20th. But I got in, just barely, but I got in. And the panel was great. It was awesome to hear all of them and to hear them do their voices. The Q&A was very good. Kathy Westlock was amazing because she was like doing Spike more than her regular voice. Spike and Mayor, and it was just awesome. Every time they do something in their voice, I geeked out inside. It was that awesome. So just seeing them in person talk about their work, the process of doing it was amazing. And then after that, that panel did start a half hour late because they had to file people up. But after that was the My Little Investigations panel, which was really, really good. It's for the new game, for the Ace Attorney series, the ponified version, and it was really good. They showed a demo of almost an entire case, and the build was really good. The voices weren't bad, the ones they had gotten. It's fully voiced. The way the game is set up is similar to the Ace Attorney games, and it was really nice. I had left it for about 5 minutes to go see the mass printing fanfics panel, because I had ran into the guy who was running that panel. I ran into them in the elevator the day before, and in the elevator I was talking to him, and then I noticed that he was carrying something, and I'm like, are those the printed copies of Fallout Equestria? And I look at them like with widening eyes, and he like pulls them back like, and it was like, it was just funny. But so we talked a little about it, and he said they were having the panel the next day, and so I went, and it was pretty small. It was just like about a dozen people crowded around the table, and they were showing some of the artwork that they had in the books, and they had the books there, and you could take a look. And they're nice books, let me tell you. I believe they're considered leather-bound, but there's 5 of them. They're not super huge like some of the big novels you get today, so they're not really heavy, but it's a nice little set. And they've got some nice sketches throughout, just one here, one there, I believe at the beginning of chapters, and it's it's basically a really unique item for a Bronies collection. I have the PDF copy of Fallout Equestria, but I haven't read it yet. I'm holding out for the books because they're doing a second printing, and I'm putting my name on as soon as possible. The first printing was like $80 per set, but I heard it was going to be a little less this time. The only problem I have with reading Fallout Equestria, not so much the fact that it's dark, but this is just a pet peeve of mine, but I don't like time travel in my entertainment, I guess you could say. I don't really care for I don't really care for Doctor Who or the Back to the Future series. It just kind of makes I feel kind of weird, and it makes me a little mad, like when they do time travel and then it messes up the whole space-time continuity. I even have that trouble with all my Sonic comics, because they do it so many times, you don't know what's real and what's not. Fallout Equestria doesn't have time travel per se, but the fact that it takes place 200 years after the main 6 have basically died, that makes you kind of feel a little weird. I haven't read the book. I know it's very good, but in a way it's time travel because it's fast forward 200 years. And I believe they do. I heard that they get glimpses of the past, and that involves the main 6, but it's still so far ahead. so it's a little weird. So I'll probably take it slow, but I'm definitely getting the books because it's such a unique item to add to my collection. Um, so I was at the panel for a couple minutes, but then I went back to my little investigations. Um, I didn't see the storyboarding Q&A that was afterwards, and they had a guy from DHX there. The director, Woody, he was supposed to be there, but he got in late and wasn't able to attend the panel. Um, at that same time, there was another um, writing panel going on, and I believe I attended that a little. And then I got in line to see the guys of My Little Pony, which was um, Andrew Francis, Lee Tokar, and Peter New. Yes, I remembered all their names. Awesome. Um, and it was a panel of the three of them, and it was hosted by Dusty Cat. And that line, again, stretched all the way around the building. I got a better place this time, um, and got in. Actually, the guys were counting the people to see how many could fit in. So they're counting, and he's like 86, 87, 88. And as he gets at me, and he keeps going, but then like 15 people behind me, he stops and cuts off the line. It's like no more people. We're overfilled as it is. And it was like, yes, me and the other guy who we had been hanging out for a while, and we just like high five, we made it. It was really a relief, and that was a great panel. They took Q&A. They talked about their voices, and about their career. I believe uh, Lee Tokar, he had a bet where if he got 2,000 people on his Twitter, he would put his hair into a mohawk. And so Peter New said if he got 3,000, he'd shave his head. And so Lee Tokar had a mohawk. It wasn't a super huge one, but he had it. Um, Peter New couldn't shave his head because he was filming a movie the next day. And, that's kind of tough to do. Like, you really can't do that, shave your head and then go film a movie. So he shaved half of his mustache and half of his beard. And so it was like, it was kind of funny, especially with the way the lighting was, because they had green lights from one side and red on the other. So it really split the faces down the middle. So yeah, that was pretty funny. And then the panel wasn't manly enough. So they handed out cider, apple juice. But it still wasn't manly enough. So they gave out mustaches. And then everyone was mustachioed, and it was awesome, and it was totally manly. And so the panel was great, and they talked about their careers and the voices they do, and their feelings toward the show, how great it is to do the voices in the show. And it was really a really good panel. It was I believe behind the main 6-2, it was the biggest panel. I guess you could say second biggest panel at the convention. Then later was Equestria Daily, and their panel was really good. They had it over at the Marriott, and they didn't expect a lot of people because they had a panel at BronyCon, and their panel there didn't attract that many people, although they were holding it at the same time one of the major panels was going on, so that was probably the reason. But either way, they got a good crowd. It was about I'd say about 150 people at least, and it was pretty good. Serial Velocity was there, and all the other guys were there, and they showed how they did it. They logged into Equestria Daily, and they put up a post for us, just to show us how it went. It's a basic blogger web build, and so they talked a little. They said they weren't expecting that many, and they brought cookies. So afterwards, everyone could have a cookie. They only brought 50, but I got a cookie. And it was pretty good. The Q&A was the best part. Everyone lined up, and so one the so there was one guy who talking to the guy in second, the guy who was second in line, and trying to convince him to cut in. And he whispered something to him and instantly let him cut in. And I thought, wow, he really got in. And so when he came up, they asked, of course, your regular questions. Who is your favorite pony? And what's your favorite episode, And so he said he liked all the episodes and every pony is best pony. And his name was Woody. And my jaw hit the floor, went through the floor, down to the basement, and cracked the cement. It took the panel 5 whole seconds before the realization came over them that this was none other than the director of My Little Pony. And then they're like, oh my gosh, the Woody? And they were like just awestruck. And he's like, you're awesome. And they all got up and shook his hand and hugged him. And it was like, yeah, it was really cool. And of course, you could tell they were like geeking out just as much as I was. And it was like amazing. Then it got even better. He asked a trivia question. Woody asked the whole panel and everyone in the audience a trivia question. What does it mean when Pinky's back is itchy? And I myself am a little like Fluttershy, so I just kind of looked around to see if someone would answer because I kind of knew it, but they didn't. I just thought, oh, I got to do it. And I just kind of jumped up halfway and just yelled out, it's her lucky day. And then it was the correct answer. And it's like, bro hoof. It was like, I bro hoofed the director of My Little Pony. This is the best day ever. And it was. And I'm still geeking about it right now, nearly a month afterwards. So, yeah, that was the best. Now, if any of you were on Equestria Daily that day when they did the panel, you might have seen the little quote-unquote shipfic that somebody had written. It was only like 200 words, and they actually just posted it in the post on Equestria Daily, and it was a shipfic between Serial and PK, and in the Q&A, like the 8th guy down, he's the one who gave them the shipfic because I guess he had been like joking around with them earlier, and he made a mention about writing a shipfic between the two of them. So he wrote it, and he wrote it on his phone, and it only took him a couple hours. I was actually there. I had been hanging with him earlier that day, and I was there when he wrote the shipfic, and it was like, wow, dude, you wrote that fast. At least that's what I thought, and it was like, it was really funny. And then they're like, oh boy. And it was just funny because they were like, the two of them were pirates and they had taken over a ship and they couldn't steer it because they'd killed the captain and everything. And it was just funny. You could probably find it if you look at the post for that day. But that was, just a little joke thing. It was kind of funny. So, I listened to the rest of the podcast and got a cookie afterwards, and nothing could top that at all. Then I went over to the Holiday Inn to watch Ponies the Anthology 2. It was great. Same weekend, I get to see both Ponies the Anthology 1 and 2 on the big screen. And there was actually a good line for that. I made it in, but some people didn't. That's how long the line was. And that was really funny. An hour and a half of Ponies. The best ones, when I watched it later with my mom, she said that the best two she thought were the Ponyfied Archer opening and the Ponyfied The Trotting Dead, which was really awesome. I'm not sure what my favorite one was. Oh, yeah, of course I know what my favorite one was. It was the all the game references, especially the Sonic the Hedgehog one. That was the best because I have all the original games. After that, there was Pony Stock, and I went in. I didn't go to Pony Stock because the line was still really long to get in. This was the big night for Pony Stock. So I went to the pony music video judging contest at the other hotel, but the panelists didn't show up. So about 25 of us, no, actually, I'm going to say it was more like 30, 35 of us were just sitting there and decided to watch something on the big screen. And we ended up watching Friendship is Witchcraft. All of them. We had a Friendship is Witchcraft marathon. It's like no planning. It was just, let's watch Friendship is Witchcraft. Okay, the guy on the computer queued it up and we watched it. What would you like next? Play the second one. We did. About the fifth, he's like, would you like to see the live stream of Pony Stock? And he put it on for a minute and everyone's like, put Witchcraft on. So we watched it and play the seventh Witchcraft. And it made sense because I had only seen the seventh one and hadn't watched the others. So it made no sense to me when I watched it the first time. I thought it was more of like a abridged or a bastardized version, but now I see that there's kind of an actual storyline with the whole thing. So that was pretty good. So, we watched that and the panelists never showed. So after that, I went to Pony Stock and I was getting tired. It had been a long weekend by that time. And it was pretty good. I went upstairs for a little while and then came down when everyone moved downstairs and, rave. And at one point I just went out and sat in the hall and it was pretty cool because it was like I'm sitting here in the hall and across from me is the cast of Bronyville and to my left is Mike the Microphone and to my right is Dusty Cat and it's like, wow, cool. All these famous people hanging around right here, or famous within the community. It was pretty awesome. I might have even been near some of the voice actresses, but I'm terrible with faces and names, so I didn't know. But so that was a pretty good day. Then came Sunday. There was the Pony music videos from A to Z panel, and they talked about how they made pony music videos, the do's and don'ts, and it actually ran long. They talked for a long time, up until like a minute before the Okie Dokie Loki panel started, which I heard didn't go that well. There wasn't as much talk of Norse mythology and MLP as there was supposed to be, but Pony Stock started early. Actually, that day, instead of being at night, it was at 11 a.m. till almost 2, and it was upstairs that day. But there were two things I really wanted to go to. One was the Bronyville Everfree wrap-up, and that was pretty good. They haven't, as far as I know, they haven't aired that that footage yet on their show, but they talked. It was a shorter panel, and they talked a little and asked everyone what their most memorable moment was. And I mentioned the fact where I got the trivia question right and was Brohoof with Woody, and it was awesome. Actually, Serial Velocity was in the panel along with the Bronyville cast. I actually left early. I left after 45 minutes. I left 15 minutes early to get over to the Cutie Mark Crusaders panel, which was the third big panel. It was Sunday's big panel. The line was, of course, I don't know how long the line went actually, because I was there at least an hour and a half early. And they said they weren't starting a line, but there was a line, quote unquote. People were kind of just sitting up against the building and just, it was very, the line was thin. It wasn't like 4 people abreast. It was just, one every 5 feet or so. So I still ended up at the corner of the building, pretty close to the dumpsters, but I was probably only, I don't know, 50th in line. So it wasn't that bad. I got good seats. I was like in the 3rd row. I think I sat behind one of the Cutie Mark Crusaders' mothers, I think. I'm not sure. And that was the best panel. That was the one I was looking forward to the most, to see the Cutie Mark Crusaders. And it was awesome from the very opening when I believe it was the voice of Apple Bloom. She had an Apple Bloom hat, and she was like, she put it on and everyone cheered, and then she'd take it off and everyone was aw, and then cheer and aw and cheer and aw. And she finally decided to keep it on. Um, and they did all, like, they said like every catchphrase from the show, like, oh, come on, and I'm not a chicken, and what are you, a dictionary? All those more famous lines. And they talked about, again, how it is, with their schedules and what they do, some of the other projects they work on, um, what it's like voicing for My Little Pony, what it was like doing the auditions and finding the character's voice. Um, and it was just great to see the Cutie Mark Crusaders. And it was, I'm still geeking out about it. It was just awesome. After that was the Dear Princess Luna letters, and some of those were really touching. Um, and then after that was the final big panel, the Finding Your Voice, Being a Voice Actor panel, and it had a mix of the voice actors and actresses all talking about voice acting. And they did towards the end after the Q&A, they did a little skit for everyone, just make up as you go. Um, like make up a line and they'd say something and then they dot 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 and they left it off for the next person to make up something, and it was pretty funny. Uh, Immediately following that, about a half hour later, was the moonrise ceremony, aka the closing ceremony, and it was amazing. Uh, they had all of the bronies of California come up and sign the Bronies of California flag, that special one I had mentioned earlier. And they talked about um, the auction. Now, this was big. I didn't get to go to the auction, but they raised $13,000 for the Seattle Children's Hospital. Really amazing. Good job to all those who were able to um, donate and participate in the auction, especially to one certain person. This guy, well, it was actually this one guy, you probably, if you were there, you saw him, most definitely saw him. He was wearing a Sweetie Belle's outfit from the talent show episode when they did that 80s rock song. And it was a really good cosplay. And he was auctioning off his outfit. Uh, he wanted it, he set it though at several $100s because it cost so much to make it. And it didn't sell. And so he didn't want to, but he decided it was such a good cause that he decided to throw in his signed Comic Con Derpy Hooves doll. Now, those Comic Con Derpy Hooves are like the most sought after um, pony item out there, and it was signed by I believe Tabitha St. Germain, who does Derpy's voice, or did it in that one episode. But she misspelled her name on it, so Derpy derped on Derpy, right? So, as amazing as that is, the auction went to $600. And the guy who bought it went over to the guy who had sold it, who had given it away, and he gave it right back to him. I mean, that's really touching. I mean, gave it right back. It was just, he paid $600 for it, and because he knew it meant so much for the guy, so he outbid everybody just to give it back. And it was really touching, and they honored him at the closing ceremonies. They presented him with a poster signed by, I'm pretty sure, signed by everybody. And it was really special. It was just really amazing. And they talked about that, of course. The committee members thanked everyone, and they were so happy with the way everything went. They were presented with a shirt, uh, again signed by pretty much everybody, and they said they were going to frame it and have it at next year's. And so it was really touching. And then they announced next year's, June 5th through 7th. Or is it July? No, that's now I don't know. And it was like, yeah! And it was amazing. And the whole con was amazing. It was my first big con. I went to VGXPO, Video Game Expo in Philadelphia, or Philadelphia, I should say, back in 2009. But that was nothing compared to this. And it was just amazing. So it was just totally amazing. And then I had to spend 4 days on a bus ride home, and that was boring. But the convention was great. Back and forth from the dealer's den several times. I walked out of there with a whole lot of swag. I got like 15 buttons, and a Luna badge. It's pretty cool. I've got it hanging on my wall, next to my other convention stuff. So that was awesome. And the whole con was just amazing. You should definitely go. I heard that pre-registration is actually already open. So I am already going to buy my ticket, because this year I waited. I didn't know conventions sold out so fast. I'm still kind of new at this. And I ended up, when the second batch of 400 tickets came out, I was there at 7 o'clock. It was like, okay, I'm on the page. Refresh. Okay, it's not up yet. Refresh. It's not up yet. Refresh. Oh my gosh, they're on sale. I don't think I can type fast enough. And of course they sold out a half hour later, so that's how close you have to cut it. So if you want tickets, do not wait. Do not wait. Also, some convention tips, which should help you at any convention. Rule number 1: eat. You're gonna want to eat. Luckily at Everfree, even though we had to climb this crazy steep hill between the two hotels, there was a 7-Eleven between them that was selling cheap food. So we all got pizza there. So there were bronies going in and out of there all weekend. Rule number 2: shower at least once a day, if not twice. I mean, some conventions, they actually talk about this. They'll have like a little convention tips panel at the beginning of some conventions, and they'll mention like you should shower this much, sleep this much, but basically you're going to want to shower at least at the beginning of every day. That way it wakes you up and you'll be nice and clean for the day. You could shower at night, but then it wouldn't help you wake up. Sleep. Try your best to get your 7 hours of sleep. I think I managed it on 5 hours per night of the convention. Not the greatest thing, but yeah, you're gonna want to get it. Even though it can be hard, especially when the con opens early and closes late, and you've got to get in line at 6 o'clock to get into a panel that's definitely going to be overcrowded. Let's see. Another rule that's not talked about, but you should definitely do, is bring a poster tube. Because otherwise your posters will not survive in your luggage. Whether you're carrying them around or you leave them in your room, you're going to want to bring a poster tube. It doesn't have to be big. Something that'll hold an 11.5 by 17, multiple at least. You're definitely going to want to do that if you want your posters to get home in perfect condition. Because I'm going to frame my Changeling poster as soon as I can get a frame. But it's got a little crease in it, and that could have been avoided if I had brought a poster tube. And another rule, You're gonna want to do this one, trust me. Get a hotel room at the hotel of the convention. Now, in this case, you had a choice between the $130 a night Holiday Inn or the $120 a night Marriott Inn, which isn't too bad because they're both luxury hotels. There was also the Hilton across the street, although that was $200 a night, and I believe there was another hotel between the Marriott and the Hilton, which was even less than that. So you're going to definitely want to do that because if you've got to even get a hotel a half mile away, you can't just drop off your swag, so you don't have to carry it around with you throughout the whole convention. You're not going to be able to do that or rest for a half hour or something, in your room. I stayed at the Motel down the street, or at least I was supposed to, but they gave my room away, so I had to go to another motel that was like 2 or 3 miles away. It was about a 10-minute ride, so I had to take a taxi. Now, at the first motel, I would have been able to walk from the motel to the Holiday Inn. It wouldn't have been that bad, 10-15 minutes. And I could have taken a taxi back during the nighttime. But no, I had to be so far away that I couldn't even I had to take a $10 taxi trip. So I spent $150 in cab fare. So trust me, it's worth getting a hotel. Also, that motel was the worst motel I've ever seen in the whole world. Sorry, but it was. I mean, they gave me a half-trashed room, so yeah, it was pretty bad. Anyway, so yeah, don't go. So definitely get a hotel. And I think that's about all I have to say on Everfree. Next year, it's being held at the Hilton, just the Hilton, which is across the street. And the Hilton's convention hall is on the ground floor, and it's a big building that holds like 1,000 people. So we're saved. No trudging up 12 stories. Although it was, I'm not complaining about it. Little exercise, I was fine with that. But it's not good. Not everyone can do that. So it's going to be much better next year, hopefully, at least with more space. Hilton's a little more expensive, but you could still stay at the Holiday Inn or the Marriott, either one. Plus, the airport, the SeaTac airport, is directly across the street, literally. You're across the street from the parking garage. There's a bridge, a pedestrian bridge across the road, and an elevator down, and it brings you like 200 feet from the entrance of the Hilton. You don't have to take a taxi or anything. You just walk across the parking lot and cross the street, and boom, you're at the Hilton. So, even better. So, great convention, and I think I've said everything I can on it. Next up, I've actually got I picked up a bunch of business cards and stuff there. So I'm just going to give a quick shout out to everyone. Or I should say I'm going to read some of these cards so you can get an idea of who was there and check out some stuff. So this is free publicity to some of the people who were there. Let's see. In the news, SakuraCon, they had a small booth advertising themselves, which is March 29th through 31st at the Washington State Convention Center. And if I remember right, SakuraCon is a pretty good size. Let's see. I have an ad here for a text-based role-playing site based on the FIM universe called Horseshoe Harbor. It says, ever explore the edges of the equestrian empire? We're on the exotic fringe near the zebra and griffin civilizations and far from Celestia's watchful eyes. And if it's on fire when you visit, well, that's just what we call Thursdays. Horseshoe Harbor. We're not pirates. So, it sounds interesting. That's www.ponies, ponymush.com. ponymush.com. Uh, ooh, I should have put some of these in the con news. But Rainforest is September 27th and 30th. So that's coming up next weekend. And that is at the Hilton, the SeaTac Hilton, where Everfree is going to be. And so that's a big furry. It's mostly furry. It says they've got some steampunk, some sci-fi. And this is the 6th Rainforest, and it's a pretty good sized one. Let's see. So that's next weekend. That's at rainforest.com. Rainforest.org. Let's see. I've got business cards here. Tons of business cards. First one, good friends at Bronyville Podcast, and they're over actually 700 reviews on iTunes, and they hover around the top 100 podcast in TV and film on iTunes, and you can find them at bronyvillepodcast.com, or I believe bronyshow.com. Just type in Bronyville Podcast and it pops up. Let's see, the Traveling Pony Museum, which was there at Everfree, they had some great plushies and artwork that was, look, not to buy, and that's at travelingponymuseum.com. Let's see, Childhood Relics, plush toys, graphic designs, and illustrations. You can find that at, I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce your name, Tracy. Tracy Trost. Tracy Trost. That's TRAUSCHT. And you can find that at tracy.trost@gmail.com, etsy.com/shop/childhood-relics, and socrazy.deviantart.com. And that's SOW crazy. Let's see. Alex Baker, cosplay props and weapons. You can find him at OrihalCon2015 and same on Facebook and Etsy. And that's ORIHALCON 2015. Let's see. Katie Williamson, katie-w.deviantart.com, and patchwork@gmail.com. And she's an artist. My Little Pony Fair. My Little Pony Fair 2012. I'm not sure what this is for, but I think this is for pony collections, more for toy collectors, because it goes back all the way to G1. Fair coordinator Summer at mylittleponycon.com. Let's see. Fine accessories and needleworks. Cat and Tonic Industries by Wing Al Mui, aka Sparkle Peep. You can find it at catandtonicindustries.com and sparklepeep@gmail.com. Let's see. Another artist, Cara Alden, Carl's the Unicorn at .deviantart.com, and on Etsy at Second Chance Artwork. That's CARLZ the Unicorn.deviantart.com. I have the card here for Roger Philip Marsh, the creator of the Savage World of My Little Pony role-playing game. And you can find him at giftkrieg23@gmail.com and giftkrieg23.deviantart.com, and that's KRIEG for Krieg. And finally, The Art of Starry Night, saberkitty.deviantart.com. And I believe that wraps up our first show. Next week, more stuff. Might not be pony next week specifically because, let's face it, there's really not much pony news at the moment. Because we're reaching that spot where everyone's waiting and waiting for season 3, and it's coming close, but we've run out of pony stuff to talk about. Basically, we've talked about the comics, we've talked about the release of season 1, the upcoming release, and there's really not much to talk about, and I'm not going to talk about spoilers, so can forget about that. So next week might be one of the non-pony weeks. But tune in anyways, because there'll still be con news, and there'll still be some pony stuff. Anyway, I'm Okami the Wolf 1, saying Good night, every pony. And here's a song that might put you to sleep. Or not.